Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. I am a filmmaker living in Los Angeles, California. Joining me today is Elle Mills.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody. So I wanted to introduce you as a director.
Thank you.
Because that is how we met.
Yes.
So we can start with that.
Yeah.
You're coming off of directing your first short film.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it was great. Yeah. You were my script supervisor. I remember on our first meeting, I was like, so what do you do? I was like, can you explain? I feel like with everyone who was on board, I was like very transparent. I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to do this is being transparent with that. I'm like, I don't really know like all the technicals and what everyone does, but I'm down to learn. And so it was really actually a lot of fun to get to work with you on this project and just like have you be beside me watching the monitor and get your opinions and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yes. Thank you. So okay, so we're going to be talking a lot about Reply, the short film. I want to dig into pretty much a lot into the nitty-gritty in terms of like the writing. You're just coming out of the editing phase, rumor has it, and even like the production side, gauging what that was like. So we'll jump into all of that.
Okay.
Before we do, let's just say, for the sake of starting off with a fresh foundation, for those that are unfamiliar, aside from being a film director, how do you often describe yourself for the peeps?
For the peeps, for even immigration when I entered the U.S., I am a content creator. I say content creator is like kind of the broad term. I say YouTuber. I feel like I've just recently I haven't made YouTube videos in a bit, so I've kind of transitioned off from that. I say podcaster, and also I guess now streamer. And so, yeah.
Okay. You're right. I think I did see, so when you say streamer, you're talking...
I just got a Twitch deal, so for this year, I'm streaming and trying it out. It's been definitely very interesting because I started doing it right in the thick of Reply, and so I feel like once this is finally like wrapped and submitted, I really want to like put my effort into that and really make myself feel like I'm a streamer, because right now I feel like I say streamer, but I don't really feel like one yet. But I'm definitely doing like Twitch streaming and stuff. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So all around, I guess I hear the term on occasion, entertainer.
Entertainer, yes. Influencer is tossed around a bit. I don't really vibe with the word influencer, to be honest, personally.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess it's just like there's a lot of people put in that bubble of that title, and I don't know really if it fits me.
Okay, I guess for the sake of it, what does influencer mean to you? Like, what is that?
I don't know, because for me, it's like, what is that word? Like, I feel like content creator makes more sense because it's like I'm creating content. While influencer, I'm like, I'm influencing people. I don't know. It is social media influencer. Like, I don't really understand the meaning of it. That's why I don't really like it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what am I actually doing? Like what's like the agenda or whatever? I guess would be the thing.
I have no clue. I'm like, I don't know.
Just making stuff. Making cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's jump into talking Reply here.
Okay.
And I guess, actually, no. Before we jump into that, I did want to reflect on my end of the conversation, too. Because I was brought in, or maybe we'll work our way through it. I was put in contact with you because I was recommended by your first assistant director, Avid.
Love Avid.
Yeah, Avid is great. He's also a friend of the show. Check
Wait,
out
how do you
him.
know? I don't even know. How do you know Avid?
That okay. How do I know Avid?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the same way anybody knows. No,
Just
when I first moved to Los Angeles, I just had my 3 year living here anniversary. I was maybe here for a couple months, and I had a buddy that had a friend that was putting together a short film that was, I think it was a volunteer based short, and I was just down to just meet people and do some stuff. And I showed up not knowing anybody, and Avid was the first AD on that.
okay.
Or no, he was director. He was directing a short. Yeah.
Oh,
So
cute.
and then he did so. We've been back and forth, and we've helped each other in different ways since then. But this was our first chance on set together in a while, actually. So it was nice to get the call. And then he put me in contact with Mikey Murphy.
Yes.
And then who is producing this piece. We'll get into that too. And then I was like, yeah, let me see the script. Like, it's always like for me, I'm always trying to gauge, of course, like, do I want to put my time? Because I don't have to, I'm in a position where I don't really have to say yes to everything, which is great. So I was like, yeah, let's see the script, let's read it. And then I had some questions, and he put me in contact with you. And we just had a phone call, kind of cold.
Yeah.
And I love the transparency, and you were super positive and super, like, you had good questions. And I love the fact that you were like, you specifically said, for transparency's sake, this is my first short. But somehow it still sounded like you had experience, and I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, it sounds great, let's do it.
Well, I'm glad you said yes to it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was like so interesting, like, going into it. Just because, like, I feel like for the longest time, why I hadn't made a film yet, and like it's been like a thing. Because for those who like aren't familiar, my YouTube videos are very, like, they feel like kind of like teen movies. Is kind of what I've always said is, imagine if Ferris Bueller had a YouTube channel, is kind of what my go-to thing to say about my YouTube channel. So I feel like a lot of comments and a lot of, like, whenever I do talk to anyone, it's always like, when are you gonna make a movie? When are you gonna make a movie? And I feel like for the longest time I've pushed it off because I just don't know. Like, I've never done film school. I don't know. Like, I'm not really in that world. And so I finally got over, like, the fear of, like, not knowing and feeling kind of stupid. I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to be as honest as I can. And, like, whatever, like, I feel like that helped even on the first day, like, the first scene. I feel like my first question was like, so when do I say action? And I don't know, like, I feel like everyone on set was, like, super, like, supportive, yeah, and, like, so down to answer all my questions, and I really appreciated that. So
yeah, so let's rewind the clock a little bit. Because you mentioned that there's some sort of wall up that prevented you from wanting to do a first film, like when you're making your first movie. Was there something specifically that happened that helped you cross this, like, I'm finally going to do it? Like, what was that? What happened?
I mean, so for a long time also, I just didn't have an idea. Like, I was just like, what am I going to do? And I think right when, because also, like, at the same time, I was so, like, before the pandemic hit, I was so go, and I was, like, kind of doing a lot of the YouTube stuff, and, like, other, like, I do a lot of hosting stuff for unscripted series. Yep. And then and so, like, when everything stopped, I kind of was just, like, alone, and I finally wrote 2 short scripts. And it just came out of me. I was just like, I wrote the first one, and I was like, okay. And then I wrote the second one. The second one was Reply. And then from there, like, obviously, like, the world was not running, so I just sat on it. And I had been friends with Mikey Murphy for like since 2017, because he's in the YouTube world. That's how I met Mikey. But Mikey has before me kind of transitioned off and has been making short films and has been writing, directing, producing, doing everything. And so he's always kind of been the one pushing me. And he's really pushed. He's been like, he sat me down, was like, Elle, just think and just do it. Just do it. And so honestly, all of this is possible because of Mikey Murphy. I told him I had the script. Went to him with the script, and he was like, because right away, like the concept of, for those who know, it's like about building a treehouse. These two girls build a treehouse, and I was like, I told him, I'm like, I have the script, but there's this one thing about it that I don't know how we're gonna pull off. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, because I was like, I told him I have alts to it. And he's like, don't change anything. He said, I'll make it happen. I'll make it work. And so just like having him and his experience behind it is kind of what pushed me through, because he's just kind of like not held my hand through it, but really like guided me through this all, and like has worn extra hats to make this experience really smooth for me.
I mean, having the proper support system is helpful. And I think a lot of it, I mean, I was going to say, I don't know. I was going to say, there's kind of this mental gymnastics a little bit that has to be done, where you have to remind yourself or learn that it's not all on you, and there is a team around you to help make this happen. So don't stress about it. This is going to get done. I'll help you out. We'll bring in so-and-so. We'll bring in so-and-so. And it will help carry the weight of this thing. It's not all on your shoulders.
Yeah, and that's something I slowly started to realize as more and more people joined the team. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I got on set, I was like, I went to Mike. I'm like, so what do I do? He goes, go talk to the actors. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm down. I'm like, I think as we got closer and closer to it, which is why I felt like the shoot went so smoothly. I was just like, it's because we got so many talented, hardworking people on the team. So
sweet. Yes. I lost my train. So, okay. So you mentioned, I don't know if you want to bring it up here, but, you said there was a tiny piece that you weren't quite sure how you were gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Is that something we can talk? Because I'm trying to remember, like, what's the thing? Like,
the treehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the actual scene of the.
Because originally we were like gonna build the treehouse while shooting. Like we were gonna get Mikey had a friend, a production designer who does like he's a huge, he had said like, I don't really do shorts, I do features and stuff. And we're like, well, we need someone with experience to help us out with this. And we ended up like, I don't know, honestly, we were getting pretty close to it. And I think we only decided like 2 weeks before, or 2 weeks before that, we're like, we're going to need to get a treehouse and like kind of like cheat around the building of this treehouse. And I don't even think we had the location with the treehouse until I think 2 days before we shot at it.
Yeah.
So like it was pretty like we were the whole treehouse part of it, which is the whole part, the narrative of the short, was like unsure and uncertain for a long time.
So the initial idea was we're gonna have different stages of the treehouse, kind of where we can see more of the process on their end of building it.
Yeah, I guess was we're gonna make it seem like we're gonna build a lot of it on the ground, and then I think we weren't going to even have it inside. We weren't going to have a shot of the tree house in the tree. And it was just going to be built on the ground and then just go inside. And then, I don't know, like we had like different versions of it. Oh, there was one version where we had it on on a platform. And like we would like edit the platform out. Like, whoa. So I'm very happy with what we decided to go with. But yeah, I don't know. There was different versions of how we could have gone about it.
Yeah, no, I think per usual, things end up working out in ways.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was pretty smooth. I thought it was good. I'm trying to imagine the other variation. I'm like, that sounds like a logistical kind of different kind of nightmare.
I don't think that other versions wouldn't have worked out. Truly.
So. Let's continue. Let's start still from the beginning. You mentioned you jumped in, you wrote a couple of scripts. So is writing something that you normally do for your content previously? Do you write stuff And then this was
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when it comes to my like YouTube videos, I have it's more structured out, which is was interesting because I felt like the structure in the story, like the beginning and the end was written first, and then like the dialogue was where I was struggling with because I don't really do that in my videos. It's like kind of like I have it pretty much structured out, and then like just go and film and let it happen. And so that's the part I struggled with for a bit. But I kind of just did it, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna write it, and then from there, like over getting notes from people, I would figure out the dialogue and make it sound realistic.
Yeah, and I do recall on set too that being a thing that came up a couple times where it was, which I think is again the transparency thing is I think is blah 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 is important with trusting the cast too. Or if they were having trouble saying anything or if something didn't make sense, you weren't really married to the dialogue anyway. So it was like, what would you prefer to say? And you're like, great, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, no.
So
as long as we had like honestly we hit the points, and honestly I did write. Well, originally I had written the script. It was 2 male leads, and then when I came revisited it a year later, I rewrote it with those actors in mind. And so to me, I'm like whatever they thought, like they are the characters, you know. So like whatever felt best for them was best for me. So
very cool. So now you have a script, and I'm trying to jump. Okay. So you have the script. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna make this now, because Mikey's pushing me.
Yeah.
But I also want to do it. Like I finally bought into it, and I'm ready to do it. What happens? Like I'm trying to envision the timeline here. It's like
So I had the script. I wrote like first draft. Well, it was 2 male leads, and then I skipped a year later. I'm back in LA because I was in Canada during the beginning of the pandemic, and I was like, okay, I think I'm a little blurry on the timeline too, but like it was like I want to make a short. I want to do it, and I had told Mikey, I'm like, I have the script, but like, and then I started getting notes on it. I think I had other people give me notes first before I even showed Mikey, but I rewrote it with with the actors in mind, the 2 female leads, and then I think once it got to Mikey, that's when things started rolling, and we started talking about budget, and then we started like trying to figure out like the logistics of it all. And I don't think until we even got like 50% funded is when we started hiring people on. So I don't know. This was like at the beginning of the summer, and so over the course of the summer, we kind of like were getting things together.
Yeah. So you launched an Indiegogo, right?
Yes.
Was the platform you chose, and that was up for, was that a 30-day deal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you were talking. I mean, and then you launched the campaign, and then as that was going, I guess the plan was probably, were you going to find a way to shoot this regardless, or was it?
Yeah. We were trying to get as much funding as you can because it was a bigger budget of a short. I mean, like, yeah, we knew it was going to be pretty pricey, especially with that treehouse. And so, I obviously was willing to pay out of pocket, but it was just like a lot to pay for out of pocket. Yeah. So, we got. And we also were luckily enough to get like people to finance some of it too. And so, it was just like kind of getting all the funds before even asking anyone to hop on. And so.
Yeah. Okay. So you were able to start getting some people involved, knowing that they would be involved regardless of what came in. And then once you had a number, then things, I'm assuming, got a little bit more. So how involved were you on that side of things?
I realized because I was like, we just did the credit list, and I saw my name under producer. I was like, "Am we getting producing credit?" He's like, Mikey's like, "Yeah." Like, I guess I was like, it was me, Mikey for the first bit until I think once Indiegogo was launched already, that's when Mark, our other producer, came on, and Mark really helped with like all the logistics and contracts and all the stuff that I'm like SAG, like all that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Mark was lovely. He was super positive, keeping us happy. It was great. Okay, so because I'm trying to. I know I was looking through your Instagram just for some timeline stuff, and I know you mentioned 1 week left. I thought that was like an August post or something
Oh
that we
yes, yeah,
shoot.
yeah,
We're currently in November.
yeah.
We shot in end of October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you had some time to prep.
Yes.
What was at the forefront of your mind for prepping for this thing?
I don't know. I've worked to kind of. I feel like every time I tell people like kind of the order I went in, it's a little. I don't know what people normally do, but
Yeah.
I talked to cast and composer were first. Well, besides Mikey, the producer. Yeah. So I talked to the composer right away because I knew that a lot of it's static. Like it's like locked off shots, and I knew I wanted the score to kind of help. And so I had a composer in mind, and he actually reached out to me before I got to him, and he was like, "Hey, I saw your new video. It's been in my mind for the past couple of days, and I just really like if you haven't have anyone yet, I would love to be considered." I was like, "Hell yes, that's absolutely yes." I was so happy, and I honestly just like he's working on it right now, so it's really interesting because he didn't want to read the script. He read the first page, and he's like, "I actually don't really want to read the script. Like I want to see it fresh," and we kind of talked it out, and like. So like he was the first person I had a meeting with actually, and then after that, I asked the cast because I felt like the next most important thing was like I was like, listen, like without good actors, like I don't know. When I watch films, like I'm watching for the acting. So I knew also for this film specifically, like it just had to be the perfect cast. And so I had my dream cast. I had my backups, but I was like, I don't know. I really felt like I'm like, if we don't get the dream cast, I'm like, this is not gonna work. And I honestly, all of them said yes. So
Should we shout out who they are?
hell yeah. Sierra Riley Wilson. She is lead Casey. Ava Capri is Hayden. And then Corey Fogelmanis is Jackson. And Anthony Rosenthal is Sam. And we have a little cameo from Steve Zaragoza as employee.
It's warehouse
What did he say?
guy.
I think it was Craig. I think we ended up with Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, okay. So this composer was reached out cold to you based on the campaign?
No, yeah, we had worked together. Well,
Okay.
because he does. His name's Benjamin Squires. He's really cool. He's in London. I had known him through other filmmaker friends, and we had worked on something very briefly for like a Dove campaign where he like kind of he does a lot of orchestral stuff, and I wanted an orchestral score. And so he was the only one I knew who had even experience with that. And so that's kind of why he was on my mind. And he does a lot of stuff for like movie trailers. Like I know he did like Spider-Man. He did Shape of Water trailer. Like he just like helps with
Okay.
orchestral stuff for
Nice.
those trailers. So, yeah, that's why I thought of him.
Super cool. I'm realizing that we haven't quite talked about the premise or like what's going on.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe we do that and get some context.
Yeah, so it is Reply is a queer coming of age teen romance. I grew up like loving coming of age films, teen films. I'm a huge John Hughes fan. So it's kind of like I keep saying it's the film I wish I had growing up. And so it's the premise is this boy named Sam is making this movie because he found these hidden videotapes in his attic that were his mom's. And it's all from the summer of 2006, the summer before his mom left to college. And before she leaves off to college, she decides to work on this one last project as like a kind of final goodbye to her hometown. And during that time, her new neighbors move in. And then you just have to watch the rest to find out what happens.
And then you watch the rest.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. Because we talked about it a little bit in terms of, you mentioned static frame, because that's why the score is so important, because we don't have the benefit of keeping an audience, let's just say, engaged through normal circumstances of quick cuts or, close, whatever. The story takes place because he's reviewing. We're not watching him review the footage. He's re-edited footage that he's found.
Yes.
So this is like VHS tape stuff that the mom has shot.
Yes.
Which traditionally when you are back in the day shooting stuff, you're shooting with one camera.
Yeah.
And there's no coverage in there. You're just shooting a moment in life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
Yeah, it was interesting because we were like either on sticks or all handheld. And it's also like, as much as it is a lot of static shots, it's also very montage based. There's two big montages. And so I was talking to our DP Kasusha. I said I really want it as much as possible to be a handheld as much as we can for those montage scenes, because it'll balance out feeling that static energy. And I think honestly with the edit, like we came out pretty well. So
Sweet.
happy about that. And honestly, it also was interesting with this being my first short, like working with film, because like I decided that with the VHS tape, like because of I was like the premise is already like I'm aware of how someone used fantastical it is. Like it's these two high school kids making a treehouse, like, and the treehouse is pretty nice. It's like a pretty good treehouse. How did they do that? I'm not sure. But so I decided, like, or very early on, I decided it didn't need to feel realistic. I didn't want it to like feel like, oh, we have to use an actual VHS tape, a VHS like camera that they would use and stuff. So we shot it all on film, and kind of leaned more into like it feeling. I said I was like very Wes Anderson inspired. In terms of how he like shot it.
Yes, shooting on film,
Mm-hmm.
which greatly influenced how production ran.
Yes.
Too, because this was your first experience in general with film, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. I guess I'll just throw in my 2 cents really quick and then ask about your side. I think I mentioned this on set too. Was I love when projects shoot on film from like the script supervisor's perspective, because I am there to watch and make sure it's going to cut and make sure we're getting what we need. And often if we're shooting digitally, like most cameras these days, it's kind of hard to keep track and give proper notes to the editor, which in this case was you.
Yes.
And I like to give really concise feedback via the notes to look back on in post-production. So when you shoot in film, you're being very what's the word, like, not like careful, precious. You're being very precious of how you're spending these roles. But in digital, I often see directors and creators just roll infinitely on stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll just be rolling, and then the director will run in and give notes for like a minute, and then we come back, and then we go again. They stop, and so
I would hate that, to be honest.
Yeah.
With the edit, honestly, it was so helpful, your notes, because I honestly, I don't know if this is bad, but like, I mean, I just like on set, I'm like, I knew which take I wanted. Like, I didn't have to watch the other ones to know that. And so, like, literally looking at your notes, I was like, oh, that one, that's the one I liked. And then just went, like, I don't know. To have, like, go through all that footage as an editor, I'm like, oh, that sounds awful. So.
Yeah. So, I guess, okay. I enjoyed the way that you ran the set. I'll just give some compliments here.
Oh,
you were great. Because the thing that film pushes for, and I think it's great for like just the first short film experience too, is it forces like rehearsals. It forces like, we got to really figure this out before we roll, versus rolling and then figuring it out after the fact.
Yeah.
So I thought, for what it's worth, I don't know that I don't think that was the plan leading into it, of course, but I think it worked out.
Yeah,
all in all.
I'm very happy with how it worked out. And I honestly I preferred that we only had to like 2 to 3 takes. Like if we got it, we got it. Let's move on. Like I like that we had to do. I like that it made us. It forced us to be. I don't know. Like it felt very efficient. We wrapped early every day. Like I don't know. I enjoyed the experience. I don't think I would shoot. I don't know. I feel like in future films, I still think I would shoot on film.
Wow. No, for sure. That's great. No. That's great. I was going to say that you can still shoot. You can still run the set the same way later on, regardless. It's like, hey guys, I love the process that it was for film. We're going to act the same way, even though we don't have to. Like I kind of But who knows what you'll do next? But we'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just like, even like when I'm watching movies, like I love films that are on film.
Sure,
Like
sure.
there's a different look. Like even looking at Sam's footage to like the rest of the film, I'm like, it's
You're
just
like,
like,
ooh,
yeah, a little bit. But once
little
the
bit.
color comes in, maybe I'll,
No, no, no. It's
yeah.
just yeah. It's probably it's like some sort of crispness that kind of kills the vibe a little bit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as I guess we can touch on this a little bit. Rehearsing, because being that we are again limited with how many takes we can do,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably knew that going in too, right? It was
Yeah.
like this is precious. We got to nail it. What did you do in pre-production with your cast?
Yeah, I the actors we have were so talented. They're all like, I was very specific about who I wanted, and I watched their reels, and I knew that they were gonna kill it. And so I think already having conversations with them, they already knew going into it that we were limited with takes. And so we had one day of rehearsal, and honestly, like I remember it was like we sped through it. Like Ava and Sierra came, we did the first scene, and I remember being like, "Oh shit, okay, perfect, next." And every single time I'd be like, "Okay, perfect, next." So they had like the character the character part of it, like the performance part of it, it was the blocking. So we tried as much as we can to block it out. But there was just a couple stuff that and that's why I was talking to Avid. Like there were specific scenes where we allotted more time to figure out that blocking, because the only way we could rehearse that is on set, in the space. So we prepped as much as we can, and then allotted for the time that we couldn't. And yeah, I did notice, like, it was interesting. I think day two, I'm talking to Ava and Sierra. I finally, because we were really speeding through things. I was like, "How do you guys feel about that?" And because they were both, all of them, I don't think have any experience shooting on film. They're like, "I'm really used to like getting like doing multiple takes to get into it," and I'm like, "Okay, well, like you let me know, like we can do as many rehearsals as we can, as we want." And I think like that was before like that last scene, like that the most important scene between the two leads. And I remember like Kasusha was like, "We got to move on, we got to move on," and I was like, I could tell from their like I could tell like just from like watching the monitor, I was like, they're not happy with it. We're gonna do it again, and like I don't know, it's very interesting, like because I was like, okay, so this is like the most important scene. It's like I'd rather sacrifice another scene for this like important scene, and just like figuring out that balance. And like yeah, so like I think it worked out really well. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ended up sacrificing anything,
No.
but there's always pressure from one side or the other. On like we got to shoot, quick, roll, and it's like no, 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 not yet. Hold up,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. It doesn't have to be the sliding, or it doesn't have to be whatever. We'll shoot something, and it's gonna be what I want to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay, I wanted to talk about post production and the edit, because you had planned from the very beginning to edit this yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
So how was it?
I loved it. I mean, I sped through it. I mean, when I edit all my own videos, and I'm very specific about editing. And like even when talking to Mikey, he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna send it over for notes." I was like, I feel like up until the edit, I've been very open about people opinions, and like I really want to hear everyone's input. But like I don't know, when it gets to that point, I'm very specific and very particular, and I just know what I want. And so yeah, like when I first started, like it was no question I was gonna edit it. Just because like I already had it. Like honestly, like I felt like from the very beginning I was thinking about it like an editor. And when we did the table read, we recorded on Zoom, and honestly, I had a moment where I was like, I need to see this edited out. So because the way I edit my videos is like I have the score, like the score and like the music done first, and then I kind of put it together and like fill in the pieces. And so I did that just to see, I'm like, is the timing working and everything? And I really liked it edited together with the table read. And so yeah, no. Once again, like having your notes was super helpful because it was just like I would literally because being the director and the editor, just when going to the edit was just like taking the takes, putting it together, and I think I was done within a day or two.
Shwoo! I guess what I'm curious to hear about as well, because that all makes sense. Because and I have more questions about the potential like notes process, quote unquote, too, and if there was any. Let's just start there. Was there being that you do have your specific vibe and flow, we'll call it, and you're very particular about it. Did you? Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you still included Mikey in that process.
Yes.
Was there did
No.
anything catch you by surprise? Was like, oh, good thought there, or just looking for a thumbs up, essentially.
I feel like because of the way we shot it, it's like there isn't much room for edit. Maybe like there could have been notes in the montage and stuff, right? But it's like very locked off. It's like kind of runs through. So there wasn't really many notes, and that's kind of what the general thing was. Is like I don't really have any notes, but they're like I feel like something was there. The one thing that people did point out was just like I don't feel like it feels like she's like yes, it doesn't feel realistic in that way, but they're like, but it works. I'm like, yeah, I feel like, especially when the color comes in and like the score and everything, like it isn't supposed to, I feel like it's more about story and style and aesthetic rather than it feeling like she's actually filming herself. So I guess that was kind of like the only note, but I think there was like minor things like, oh, moving this over a second so that, I don't know, like, I don't want to get specific,
yeah, minor tweaks, if anything.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this is very just plop in because this is the one angle for this one scene.
Yep.
Unless you're going to be really, really experimental with rearranging all together and just seeing how it plays. I don't know if that was ever.
There was one note. There was like you could there. I don't know because. Why I also was hesitant to show people. I was just like, it's not like the score's not in there. Like, you know what I mean? It helps and stuff. And so I think one thing was there was just a suggestion. Like, again, everyone was like, it's great. Like, it's good. But if you wanted to get experimental and like add jump cuts and stuff like within those scenes and like making you feel like edit, I was like, nah, I feel like the cuts should just only come in the montages and the scenes should run through. So.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. So I was gonna ask about one thing shooting on film, again, for those unfamiliar, too, is normally on set there's a place called Video Village, and that's where we all get to sit, and they have the digital feed being pushed from the cameras, and you normally get to see exactly as it shows up on the camera, and it's very easy to tell how it's going to look. When you're shooting on film, I don't quite know how technology works, but somehow they're able to show you
like what it's supposed to look like or something. Yeah.
It's the feed, but it's not like high res film. It's not. It's kind of low res looking and hard to tell sometimes. So
I didn't even know that until literally like I think 30 minutes before we started shooting. And Roxy, our costume designer, who also is an amazing director, she was like, by the way, has anyone told you about the feed? I'm like, what about the feed? She's like, oh, it's going to look like shit. She's like, you only look at the monitor basically for like composition and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, well, good to know. But honestly, it looked really great. Like I didn't even mind how it looked on the monitor, but like seeing it like actually developed, I'm wow, yeah.
Because I know the little baby monitors that we had, or that you were using, that you carried around, had color on it. That one at quote unquote Video Village that we had was black and white.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you were never there. So. Okay, yeah. So how was it seeing the footage in reality later?
Yeah, no, it was insane. I remember being so excited. I remember getting the call from, oh my God, what are they called?
You're just sitting, you just wake up in the morning, you're sitting by the phone.
I called, right? I waited till 9 a.m. until they opened. And I was like, I'm just checking out and they're like, it's ready. I go, I literally gasped on the phone. I was like, I'm going to be there soon. And I drove over and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I have audio notes of like sending it to Mikey and Mark and Kasusha. I'm like, oh my, holy shit. It looks so good. I was getting little bits of it because we had it processed at one place and then scanned at another. So I brought the processed film because he processed and scanned it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, so we processed it, and then Kasusha had our DP had a friend who could get us a deal for the scans, and so I guess Kasusha was getting like videos, like FaceTimes of the scanned footage, and so the first I saw the footage was like a screenshot through a screenshot. It was, but like through that, I was just like, whoa, it looks so good, and then it's not even colored yet. I've been telling Mikey, I'm like, I can't wait for it to be colored because like I'm now kind of over what it looks like, kind of bland, but I really want to see it with like.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, did anything catch you? I mean, it's separate from it looking beautiful because you love film. Did anything catch you by surprise when reviewing it? Otherwise, like.
No, not by surprise. I feel like I was very, very happy I decided to shoot on film. There were parts, and especially in the montage, like, because I noticed that when the take ends, like, there's kind of like this light. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it kind of like, I don't know, the film does this thing where it's transitioning to the next, you know what I'm talking about? And I utilized that as much as I could because I thought it looked so nice.
That happens on the literal cut from the camera, right?
Yes,
Is that what you're talking
yeah.
about?
And I loved the look of that, and so I definitely used as much of that as I could.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love me my awkward beats. Okay, now and this is another thing too. Like you said, you wrote the project. You sat on it for a year. You kind of made some tweaks to characters and did some dream casting, and then whatever to get the script ready. How much has it changed or grown through the process since those initial visions to what it is now? Like the expectations versus the reality, and once everybody's had their little touch on it,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for the most part, I was reading actually like my notebook in my bag there because I just opened it and I saw like my first ever page writing out of like reply, like what's it gonna be, and I was like, it's pretty much the exact like I'm like I definitely like it was very clear. I knew what I wanted, and I just like needed to find the right people to help me make it, and I did. I don't know. It's honestly pretty much the exact same. I'd say from the final script. I'd say it was just like. Yeah, like once I got the characters and once the cast was in, like from that moment on, I feel like it didn't change much. Honestly, it just came to life. If anything,
that's beautiful.
I know.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
super stoked. No, that's good news. Like I know, because we hear stories often of creatives, and just I've heard of stories of directors that'll just be reviewing their footage in post and like literally format their hard drives and tank a whole feature because it was not what they were looking to do.
Yeah.
And
that literally sounds like my worst nightmare. Like I was scared. Honestly, there was a moment where I was like, is this, I don't know, like it's definitely been an emotional roller coaster of like, is it good? Is it good? I'm like, I go through really high highs and then I go like, is this awful? But that sounds like that's my biggest nightmare. Like, I hope that never happens. I don't know. I'm almost like, did I really luck out with this one film? Like, this really went really smooth.
I think you've just done a good job of communicating, like you said, and it's also, even if you didn't like it, let's just say hypothetically speaking, for the future, I'm not a big a big advocator for killing your work in that sense. Like you learn stuff, you get it done, get it out into the world, move forward, and just accept it, like it's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my thing. But luckily this is beautiful and I love it. But because I don't know if what your mentality is when you create in general, what the objective normally is. Like when I create, It's with normally with the expectation of there's always something to learn. I'm bringing everything in that I do know, and I'm doing the best that I can with the knowledge I have currently, and just trusting the process, trusting your teammates
Yeah.
coming out the other end, and not being afraid to display it because that's why we're doing it. And that's kind of yeah. I'm a big fan of just putting it out regardless. But again, luckily this is beautiful. But like,
Yes.
yeah, what's your normal approach on that?
I would, yeah, because even like I guess the only thing I could compare all this to is like my videos.
Yeah.
And a lot of that are like those videos are pretty high production. So like going into those, all I can do is prep. And so I feel like with this short specifically, like I don't even think there would be a world where I would want to like format like the footage, whatever, because I feel like I do all the prep to make sure that when we go on set, all we need to do is just get it, and then we got it, and then it's like perfect. And yeah, I don't know, like I guess I don't know. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, have you ever created something and then abandoned? I mean, it's gotta no. You're usually pretty good at following through.
It's like it's always like it never gets to the point where I would shoot it. Like if I really am not unhappy with it, it's like I find that out during the prep. Like
Yeah.
it's like I go into like I guess the shoot knowing that we're gonna get it. So that because I feel like I could not if I couldn't go into shooting like even like that. There was only one scene where I was like I didn't know what I wanted. And there was like
I remember.
yeah. That was the only one because every other one I'm like I knew the beats, I knew everything I wanted, and so that one I was like I knew like I kind of how I wanted to go, and I was luckily Steve's great, and he killed it, so he gave me a lot of great takes, but yeah. So like the thing is, if the whole film was like that, I would be a anxious mess. So
Yeah, it's not a fun place to be. So how do you know? How do you know when something is worth moving forward on? What's your checklist, or how do you do that?
I guess with like, oh my gosh, I mean, I could talking about this specific film, like, it's like having all the right pieces. So like the Dreamcast saying yes, like seeing like Kasusha's work. I was like, okay, yes, like I know she can do it. Like seeing everyone's previous work and like even if it didn't have to do with their previous work. It just like them as a like personality, like them as a person, like it like having all the right people. That's a check. On my end of things, it's like I knew the story itself. I felt like the script itself like was something that I as a viewer like would enjoy seeing, enjoy watching, and feel very satisfied at the end. And so I knew that it would have like just the story would feel kind of rewarding for the audience member. So that was a check. And yeah, I guess that's really it. Like the just like making I don't know. Yeah, just all the right pieces, I guess. Like
Yeah.
everyone said yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a two-step process to me. It's like step one sounds like this is something I like and I believe in and I would watch, and I know I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
So that's all I need to move forward to the next step of getting the team together, and that's just like the check on the check. It's like, all right, cool. It's really happening, and we're moving forward because you kind of have to move forward to even get to that point. So like, it sounds like step one is it's you.
Yeah, no.
You just it's kind of like a kind of some sort of
It's a gut feeling, to be honest. It's like I'm very I like I feel like just like how I was in school and stuff. Like I'm a very uncertain person. So when I do feel confident about something, I'm like, okay, I believe it with all my heart. And so I knew that I believed in it, and so that just getting the right people was the next step.
Lovely. Next question. Just kidding. I want to talk about making a movie, making a film. Well, is there looking back at again, Reply. we're still fresh off the edit here.
Yeah.
But what is there do you have a favorite part of the process that you being that this was like your first time going through this process, this pre-production, getting the money together,
Yeah.
doing the castings and stuff, production, making the thing, and then the post where it's kind of just you. But
Yeah.
what's
My favorite?
sure, yeah, let's rank them for fun.
Yeah, honestly, okay. Well, I'll say pre-production, hated it. It's just honestly like SAG stuff. Getting so close to like shoot and not having things like approved, like permits, and like, oh my gosh, like Anthony, one of our actors, it was a minor, and that was just like a headache. Like with SAG, they're like, you need a studio teacher, even though he had like 2 scenes. Like, I don't know. It's just like things like that. I'm just like, it really. I did say, like, talking to Mikey and Mark sometimes, I'm like, they really drained the fun out of it. But like, no, because we had to. Like, there are things that need to get done. So I'd say that was my least favorite part. Once we got to rehearsal, after rehearsal in person with those actors, that's when I was like, we got it. I was like, okay, I feel excited and I feel confident. And honestly, I was scared about shooting. I was like dreading it. I was like, I can't wait to just be in the edit. And I actually loved it. I loved it so much. I loved being on set. I feel like as the days went on, I felt more and more confident as a director on set. And I felt like, because I feel like the first day I was just like, especially with notes, I was like, I didn't know what to say to them. Like, especially I was like so worried. I'm like, I don't want to line read. I don't want to do this or that. And so I felt like as time went on, I was less in my head about it. And I felt, I felt like, I could tell it was interesting too from the start when we first started, because I feel like on paper this seems like a very ambitious, like it was a very ambitious shoot. There's a lot of scenes, like it seemed intense, but I knew that we could get it. But I remember hearing like some of the crew talking to each other, like, yeah, there's a lot of shots, but I could tell like those same like people, like by the end were like I felt everyone's confidence. I felt everyone it was really enjoyable experience to see everyone feeling very confident about this project that we're all making together. Yes.
Yeah. Again, shooting on film, and again, limiting the coverage by way of how you designed the project in the first place, kind of set us up for that. Because on paper, like you're saying, you look at it and we're shooting how many scenes today, but then you think about it, it's only one setup per scene, and then we move on. It kind of makes it a lot more doable. But okay, so you enjoyed the process. You liked being on set. I remember you, I don't know which day, maybe it was a couple of days, you were saying you were really feeling it and you were super happy, and it was lovely to see. And I think you were just like, I'm at the height of my powers right now, everybody. Like, you're just kind of talking about like your confidence level was at like an all-time high.
Yeah.
And you were just like, I can do no wrong. I am just like, you were just up there with, you knew exactly what you wanted and you were feeling it. And it was like, I think back to that too. That was cool.
Was it cool? I mean, I wonder.
Well, so you were half joking about it too.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't literally. Yeah, it was a playful thing, and yet you were not lying.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I will say, like, definitely I was like, I don't know, it just went so smoothly because I was like dreading that shoot so much, like just getting it. And I was like, damn, this is going, we're doing it. And also fucking the yerba mates, whatever, like the caffeine, like that. Also, oh my God, those things got me going. I felt like that's probably I don't know. Roxy introduced me to that, and I remember I had 2 of those in a cold brew on the second day of shoot, and it
was dangerous.
It was dangerous, but I was ecstatic.
Yeah, so I guess we haven't said it. It was a 3-day shoot, but yes, cool. All right, so we're still ranking. You're kind of more recapping.
Yeah.
You already said Pre was your worst. Was your least favorite?
Yes.
Okay, so there's that which you surprisingly enjoyed. You didn't really know what to expect, and then I
think shooting was my favorite.
Okay, number 1.
Then editing. I mean, I'm still in it, so I mean, I the thing is with the edit, it's been like, it's just like, because I've watched it so many times now. I'm like, but when I first watch it, I have like videos of me. I'm like literally in awe. I'm
Were
like,
you
oh
doing
my god.
when I think about YouTube, I imagine you doing a reaction video to your early cuts. Is that essentially what you
No,
were
yeah,
shooting?
I was watching back like me putting together like that montage bit, and like I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute. It's so cute.
The footage was super cute.
Yeah. It was just like to finally see like what I already knew what I wanted. Like it just like to see it on the screen. Like definitely like yeah. No, it was very rewarding. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, because you've done. I would say like you've completed the heavy lifting of post at least. Like as far as
Yeah.
your work, like the composer's still working at it. You got to get it colored and just kind
Yeah.
of finesse in that region. But
But it's
that's
so important. I've been saying because I usually with my videos like sound design is so like I need it done like because it helps with the transitions and stuff and so like and the mixing too. So for me like watching it back right now, I'm just like oh my god, I can't wait just to get to this.
100%.
I'm like oh my god, just want to. I can't wait. I'm very excited. The composer Ben thinks he's gonna have something to me by tomorrow night, and we talked over where because I originally wanted it wall to wall, and then he talked out with me, and he kind of told me the parts where he felt like it should come in, and like where it should be lighter and everything. And once we had that, I was like, "Damn, I'm so excited!" I just feel like he was saying like, I do think the film's very strong as it is, but like just like with the color and the sound design and
Yeah.
the score, I'm just like, yeah. Again, I'm just
It'll
excited for 2 weeks from now, where I'm like watching the final thing.
Yeah, it only makes it better.
Yes.
And it's crazy how much cooler it is once that's on there. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Question for you. I don't know. I'm not a good segue guy. All right. At this point, what I'm curious as to not necessarily like lessons learned per se, but looking forward to, let's say, the future. Is there anything that kind of stands out as like, I really want to try this other thing I didn't get to do that's kind of eating at you a little bit? I'm like, ooh, if like anything, I don't know.
Like in terms of like
In terms of, let's just say, writing or the filmmaking process, or like, ooh, I really want to shoot. We just talked about you wanting to film maybe forever, but
yeah.
but a more, we'll call it quote unquote traditional with coverage and feeling out something. Like I don't know if there's
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was, I guess what I would want to do is this was like kind of the perfect transition for me because it did feel very, in a way, there was a YouTube aspect to it where it's like, like a lot of it's her shooting herself like a YouTube video, even though it's like not. And
Yeah.
so I think like next thing would be like kind of like that. I feel like that was like the half step, and now I'm like I would. I have ideas of like I think I would because I think this is even just doing the short film part of it like it's like I kind of had that practice at YouTube. Definitely wanted to try like what it would look like to make a feature, and like just try that out and like even just write.
do that.
Yeah, just do
that.
that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really talk to Mikey. I'm like, I think because Mikey is like, he's written so many scripts at this point, and I think like I know what I want. It's like I'm being very transparent with him. Like I just don't know. Like I feel like with him and me combined, like it would be really cool to see what we would make. And so that I guess that, and I feel like maybe trusting. I feel like next time I go into it, like I feel like a lot of the things that I was like, I think my instincts, like I just really next time, like really trusting my instincts and like my gut instincts, because I felt like the things that everything went super smoothly, but like the small things, I was just like, oh, okay, so I was right about like my gut instinct on that. So just like really trusting myself, I guess, next time.
No, for sure. That sounds about right. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, which is a fun process to go through. Yeah, I guess when you were talking about that, I was thinking about my because I've directed a couple of features, and I remember when I did my first feature, because I wrote it, and then there was issues with the script, and I'm like, I'm the director. I can fix this on the day. And then you get to the day, and you're like, we're not really finding a solution here. I'm the editor. I can solve it in the edit. And then just the gut instinct again was like, I knew back in the writing that this would be an issue, and it never went away. So it's kind of the gut instinct thing. It's a powerful lesson to learn. It's no, it's trust it then, speak up, or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. Before we potentially transition out of talking reply, I did want to ask. Oh yeah, you kind of. I don't know. I checked in with Avid and to see if he had any questions for you.
Oh really?
He only had one. I don't know if there's anything here to really talk about, but he was very curious as to specifically the feature version of this short. That there's maybe an idea there, and if where the script out was at, that's what he wants to know.
Yeah, I know. I hello Avid. So I think like when I talked to Mikey, I was like, I really want to write a feature with you. I had thought about like what the feature length of this would be, and I almost feel like this story itself lives as a short. I really do. I thought about it. I'm like, it could it could turn into a series, a feature. I don't know. You could drag it out, but what I do like about this short in specific is I think the actors are really great, and I feel like I think that can be carried onto a feature. I think the film aspect, I feel like there's another version of that of a fourth wall break that I have an idea in mind that I think it's different from how we did it in Reply, that I think can be carried out into a queer teen coming of age romance feature length. So that's what I'm like right now. Like as soon as I wrap, like that's where I'm gonna go straight into trying to figure out like what that would look like. But yeah, like this specific story, I don't think should be a feature, but like a different version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. I think you, what's the term? Hit the nail
on the head?
Yeah. With, like each, what's it called? Format, each,
like short versus
medium.
Feature? Yeah.
Each medium kind of has a specific way the story should be told. Like for the short, this is again a great representation of how to tell this story in a short form. If you were to stretch it out, it sounds. So I guess the idea would be it's more of this is the seed, and you would kind of grow out of it, or keep the vibe, or
it would be definitely just like it would. I think it's this short in specific is like a representation of like a style of a teen movie, I guess. I guess a vibe, for the lack of better words.
Vibe's a great word.
Yeah,
tone.
A tone. Yeah. It would be like I think if you watch the feature, like the feature I have an idea I have in my head, and the short, like you would see like they kind of live in the same universe, I guess. So
yeah.
So that's the hope.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got you as the core, so that's how it goes. All right, that was from Avid. What did Mark have to say?
Mark?
His was very deep. I'll quote.
Okay.
I think it would be interesting to compare the different pressures or stressors that occur when she makes or preps a YouTube video versus performing a narrative feature. Is the process for her the same, both in physical execution and mindset?
Love that. I think there were a lot of similarities. I mean, mostly because like all my prior experience were like the way I made my YouTube videos, and like I said, like I was like I usually have like before I go shoot, I have like in the edits, like in the project file, like the score and like some pieces put together so that I know the timing and the beats of it. And so I did do that. I kind of carried over some of the way I prepped for the videos to how I prepped for this short in specific. I guess the difference was, which I kind of loved, is that I wasn't the star of it. Like, I did not have to be on camera, and that relieved. I think that's a big pressure. I mean, I enjoyed it for the time being, but I feel like I'm at, like, when I was like a teenager, like when I was in the kind of the peak of my YouTube videos, I was really, I think, ballsy. Like, I was very, I put myself out there. Like, if you look at all my tattoos, these are all for YouTube videos. Like, I was very impulsive and like kind of down to do whatever on camera and like really put myself out there, which I don't feel like I have that in me anymore. And so like having that pressure off was really nice. And I having working with, like, because I feel like a lot of the pressure that came with the YouTube videos were like especially because that was the part of the process that was unsure. Like, it's very like, it's not scripted. It's like, as much as like I scripted out everything, like the beats of it, it's like very improv and very like whatever happens. And that anxiety was not fun. And so having that prep and like going into this shoot with like super professional and talented actors, like it was I felt a lot. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's kind of what we talked about earlier, is having the weight supported by a full team versus just you being the talent on both sides of the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely liked having the team, and also like, I don't know, knowing, because I'm like, as much as like I can get it done, like sound design and like shooting and filming, right? Getting people who are specifically like, that's what they do and that's where their expertise are at, like definitely so much better.
So nice. Great. Thanks, Mark, for phoning in on that question. I will, let's see. I'm debating on which one to jump to here. I think it's a nice segue talking about the pressures. Because again, we've only known each other for a couple of weeks now, which is very cool. A little bit longer. Yeah, we talked on the phone that week before the shoot, essentially, and then 3 days on set, chilling, being besties. Is how I like. How I like to see it.
Exactly that.
And then now here we are. So I was trying to do like a little bit of like who I like to dig into where creatives, like what creatives have done before, where they come from, where they're going, and I definitely spent a lot of time on YouTube, growing up and whatnot. So I'm very familiar with certain pockets of YouTube and stuff. So when I was scouring through your channel, and I was like, what has Al been putting together not like as of late. I think I watched more of your recent stuff. I was talking about, I watched your burnout at 19 was a video you put out a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a beautiful video. I thought it was pretty intense. It was very cool. I don't know what it was like for you to put together at the time.
Yeah.
But I was very curious on. I don't know. I'll just spit out a couple more things. One thing that it did remind me of as of late too was it felt very similar. I feel like it's a very YouTube, like that's kind of the hustle of the YouTube grind is. Maybe you could talk more about it, but Bo Burnham had his whole big thing that he took the 5 years off, and so it feels like a very similar. Anyway, how are things? and fill us in a little bit on that. Like, I don't know.
That was in 2018, so it's been 3 years. Over 3 years. It's coming up to 4 years now. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, I'm going back to kind of how I talked about the tattoos and stuff. I think, like, again, it is a very intense video, and I think that's something I wouldn't make now. I think there's something, I think looking back at that, there is something, I don't know if beautiful's the word, something, I don't know. I do, there's a part of me that's like, I look back at my teenage self and like, I'm like, it was a way for me to, like almost a therapy, almost like put my feelings out in a way that I couldn't really communicate to my friends and family. And so, I haven't really watched those videos back,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, again, it's like, it's very hard because it's like, I do think a way I've kind of had to like cope with it is like, almost just like letting go and moving on. And so, I just did I think a podcast recently where I had to talk, like, kind of revisit that year and like the time, because they really wanted to go specifically in the timeline to building up to that video. And it was really interesting because I was just like unlocking memories. I was like, yeah, I mean, like, because it was basically going like, kind of like, for those who haven't seen it, it's like my push to I guess success and like kind of YouTube fame was do you know Casey Neistat?
Yeah.
Yes. So I had made a coming out video and it went viral, and Casey Neistat saw it and he made a whole video about me, and that's kind of pushed me to this next level, and it made I started, I don't know, like I just felt everything happened really fast, and I was,
Yeah, I think you mentioned it was like a 6-month window from from 0 to million plus or something like that.
Yeah, it was like, it was a very short period amount of time, and I grew up being a huge YouTube fan. I loved YouTube, like, since middle school. I wanted to be a YouTuber, like, that was the dream. And so, like, it was like achieving my childhood dreams, and like I when I started making videos, like, I was a huge Casey Neistat fan, and I took inspiration from his videos, and so like it just felt very surreal, and I think I wasn't coping with it well, and I felt a lot of, again, it was that pressure of like what I was talking about, like I was the face, I was doing the team, like I was doing it all on my own while still dealing with like people are mean online and people are like, I don't know, just like it was a lot, and I think it all kind of pushed me to this point where I broke.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the schedule. What schedule?
I think it was slowly like kind of faded out. I don't know, like I was doing it once a week and then once every 2 weeks. Yeah, around that, once a week, once every 2 weeks, yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to forget. I've kind of forget the question, but
Well, the question is, let's just, speaking back to that video, you were kind of mentioning that there were steps being made to, like, there's an acknowledgement there that this isn't healthy and I'm not happy, and I need to rework my life in a way to not be feeling this way.
Yeah.
So we're 3, almost 4 years since then. I was just kind of, it could even be like some sort of an advice section too for other folk that look up to you or that want to also be YouTubers or break in, or like, how do I be like Elle, or those I don't, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I guess like it's something over the past, like, I think 2 years, it's just my relationship with social media is just very different. I think I used to put such value in the numbers I was getting, and like, so like a video not getting 1 million views was literally, it felt like the end of the world. It felt like I was worthless. Like the thing is, it's like, it sounds, I don't know, so a lot of people sound ridiculous. To some people, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think it's like, it's just it's the way the YouTube game is, and it's just like, I don't know, I think I just had to do a lot of growing and like self-reflecting, and like I think that's what the pandemic allowed me to do. And I think I've just kind of realized that as much as I loved that part of my life, like, I think I'm very grateful for what it's given me, and like and the platform it's given me. I think I realized like that, because I love making the content. Like, I feel like, okay, so like there's a lot of people who just like film their lives and stuff, but like what I was doing is not the same, and so I feel like there was a different pressure to it, and I really did enjoy it. And I felt like with YouTube and like social media, it's more about quantity than quality. and like being consistent. And I feel like with making YouTube videos, I couldn't put my all into making it it wasn't like the same way like how much like time and effort I was putting into the short film, I couldn't do with every video. And that's what I want to do. Like I want to be able to like spend the time doing that. And so I don't know, I guess my advice for people who want to, it's like if that's what like, you know what I mean? It's like I guess thinking about what kind of creator you are, like, like what kind of videos you want to make. And if it's like something that you can do consistently, you feel passionate about, I feel like making sure you're passionate about it is the biggest thing. Because that, like, if you're not, it's going to fade out and it's going to feel, you're not going to enjoy it. So, like, there's that.
Is there something to say? Is there something, because of course the algorithm promotes the consistency, like you're saying. Even when there is passion, that consistency will likely kill it at a certain point. So is there something to say for it's okay to not
be consistent?
Yeah, like
so the thing is, this is a tough thing. This is why I'm like, I have such a weird relationship with it, because it's like I even like I don't know. Like I had someone recently ask me about it, about like how do I do this? I'm like it's and I knew I was looking around at their apartment. I was like, you're like, I don't know. I can tell you want to take time into things. It's like, I don't know. It's something I definitely like. I have a lot with my content creator friends like talk about. It's like it does the YouTube does promote, and it makes sense. Like consistency to grow is key. So if you have an audience, like taking like a break every once in a while, yeah, that works. But like I'm not gonna lie to anyone and be like consistency isn't important. It is important in the YouTube game, and even social media like TikTok, all of that. Like to grow an audience, you need to be consistent and you need to put that work in. And I feel like when I first started out, like when I was zero, like I was hustling, like I was like consistently putting out content and didn't matter. Like I pushed through, and so it is important. But then I also have taken a step back because I've realized like I can't do that. Like that's not the type of content creator I am. Like I'd rather put my all into something, and so I don't know. It's a weird conversation. Sure. Yeah, I know. It's just like it's how social media is, and so it's very interesting.
Yeah, the sustainability is tough.
Yeah, that's why that burnout was such a huge topic. I feel like, and I feel like YouTube has kind of even brought me on some. Like I did a series with them where I was talking to the head of the algorithm, Todd. What's up, Todd? He's great.
The head of the algorithm.
Well, that's not his official title. I don't know, but I just know he's basically he's the one who set up the system, and talking about burnout with him and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's still something, just a conversation that's still ongoing, and like, I guess it's dependent on the person, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so assess whether or not you're passionate.
Yes.
Understand that there's a lot of work involved.
And
it's going to be difficult. And maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's not. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all so dependent on the situation and the person. I think it's figuring out what you're passionate about, what it is you want out of it, right? Is it for the content? Is it because it doesn't? Is it for the business side of things? Because there's a lot of my friends who are in the social media world and content creating for the business side of things, and they're so good at it. Like I'm just like not on the business side of things, which is why it's like the reward doesn't feel that great for me when I was really hustling and doing it. So
yeah. Great.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a good answer,
no,
but
it's a great answer. That could lead us into future talk, because you've hinted a couple times throughout our conversation here that this like the short film reply is a nice transitional piece. So we can elaborate on that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like what's been nice is I've had opportunities. Like I have a podcast and like Twitch and stuff where I've been able to keep up. I'm like still creating content online that isn't like, I don't know, like I do enjoy content creating and like the digital world. And so with this short film and now, like I feel like kind of taking what I did on YouTube and like bringing it to like the next step with that is writing and directing. And so that's why this short film, it's kind of like my first thing of like, I can do this, and I want to like push it out and show the world. And from there, like, I don't know, like I'm still like kind of like figuring out what the path is. All I know is that I'm like kind of like taking a step in that direction now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
No, it's very cool. Because there is, I mean, that's kind of the creative life in general is there is no path, and we have to create it.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing kind of, it feels like you're doing things right, and you're talking. Yeah, you have your collaborators. You're talking to people with experience that have done things before, and understanding what you do and don't know, and just kind of see what happens. Let's make it happen. Because you seem like the type of person. You kind of mentioned this too, where once you decide to do something, you kind of find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very it's I don't know, it's very interesting because I'm very tunnel vision. Once I have my eyes set on something, I'm very like, all right, I'm going for it. I'm gonna do it. I do like it about me. But it's I don't know. It's kind of sometimes a little scary.
Yeah.
But
What's the term? It's a gift and a curse. Is
yes.
that
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Where it helps you get stuff done, but also you're like, I guess I just have to keep torturing myself.
Yeah, I know. Literally, it's like all I can think about. I don't know. Just very. I know it's fun. It's kind of I like these moments in life. It's like if it feels exciting and scary at the same time.
Great. A couple more easy ones here. You mentioned it. I don't know. Mentioned your podcast, Crazy Stupid Fangirls.
Stupid Fangirls.
That's a newer thing, right? How new is that?
April.
And the intention there was just mixing things up. And what spawned this little puppy?
Well, I think what's been super great with YouTube and stuff is that I get these like really cool opportunities, and one of them was like a podcast deal.
Nice.
So I was thinking about like what it is because I didn't know what I wanted. Like I was thinking about like what it is I could do that hasn't been really done before, or like it's something I feel passionate about. And I'm like, I enjoy just fangirling. I'm a huge fangirl. I love movies, shows, actors, singers, and just nostalgic things. And so I think we started off the podcast. I think that was always the end goal, like kind of get guests that we were fans of. But we started off like kind of talking to the people that I was friends with, and like just things that we're fans of and stuff. And then it kind of just transitioned from there. From like, I think the first person we got, like I was a huge Lizzie McGuire fan, huge. And so we got Jake Thomas, who was mad on Lizzie McGuire on. And
I'm gonna say Hillary Duff.
Oh my God, I wish. One day. And then like from there, like actually our first one was Karan Berard. He was on Jesse on Disney Channel, and he's such a nice guy, so cool. And so just kind of like, yeah, that's what we do on the podcast. You met Michelle. That's my co-host. Yeah. No, we get guests that we're fans of, and we just kind of talk about like them and the work they've done, and then we also then talk about things that they're fans of, which is always really fun.
Cool. So it's a nice excuse to just
we like cracked the system. Like no, me and Michelle we literally created something where we can make money meeting people we're fans of, and that's it.
That's great.
No, yeah, it's fun.
It's awesome. Because I know, not that we're talking about me here, but I know I started this during kind of deep lockdown, and I was mostly looking for an excuse just to talk to anybody. It was like, because this is an extended, I don't know how long yours normally go. I know I've checked, I've tuned into a couple of them. It feels like they're an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, an hour, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what is it like to just talk to people for 2 to 3 hours and just, and get past, because I'm not a fan of the small talk. I don't like surface level conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't feel like I'm good at extended conversation. So I'm like, I need an excuse to practice talking to people. It was almost, not that I couldn't talk to people before.
Yeah.
But that's what's
honestly,
fun.
yeah. When talking, I've been saying like talking to these guests every week has definitely helped with that for me personally, because I get really anxious meeting new people. I don't know. I just like it's been nice practice, and I feel like as each week goes on, I feel more and more confident in my socializing skills, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. It is kind of funny too, because I don't feel like it translates very well to normal human conversation.
It really doesn't.
Because I know, let's just say, like if we're on set or whatever, I'm like, I know I can sit down with Ellen and chat for 3 hours, but how do I chat for 5 minutes or whatever?
Yeah.
Like it's a different thing. Either, yeah. Okay, so you're doing that. So you got that. You got the Twitch.
Yes.
You're gonna be making some features here coming up soon, which is awesome. We talked about kind of the semi advice section, which was don't do it.
Okay, no.
I'm just kidding. No, that wasn't the advice.
Do it if you want to.
Do it
if that's
you
what you really want to. Yeah,
Try it.
honestly, I think I'm such a huge advocate for trying everything once.
Yeah. I'm a fan of, just do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of step one. Is it something people?
And that's just things people have a lot of trouble doing. They talk about it, but they won't ever just do it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
It is.
Because it's hard. Where can people? So I guess my thought is for people that want to watch it.
Yes.
How do they keep up? Is it just you on Instagram? Is that where people go to keep up with the
show?
Or is there
Instagram. I'd say Instagram's probably Instagram, Twitter. I guess that's where I would give updates. Probably more on Instagram. And then I mean,
it's probably
yeah. What?
Nothing. I was gonna say it's probably what the what this next year is gonna be is like the reply circuit.
Yes.
You're planning on doing the traveling and stuff with it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm lucky. Like, I think my agency will also like kind of help out with that, which is gonna be really fun and nice. And I'm excited. I mean, I just want to. I mean, it's. I think we're gonna be submitting to festivals in like 2 weeks from now. Like, we're gonna just put it all out, and then I guess from there we'll just see which ones gets into.
Nice.
And then
And then rack up those laurels.
Mm-hmm.
And then spend all of your Instagram stuff posting about the laurels.
Yup.
And then it'll get picked up for the feature by HBO Max.
Yes.
And then I'm trying to imagine where it would go. Is this an HBO Max movie? It feels like that's a little bit darker tone, but maybe it goes there.
I don't know. I don't know what is on HBO Max.
Maybe it feels like
like, oh wait, would that be like? I'm like thinking of shows like it has like Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies,
yeah.
HBO Max, Barry,
Reply, Big Little Lies,
Westworld,
yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
And then Reply.
Yeah.
No, maybe we'll see.
We'll see. I'm very curious. I'm really excited to see.
Yeah.
What happens in 2022?
It's very exciting. Good times.
Yeah.
Anything we're missing on stuff that's on your mind these days? I'll just ask the vague question like that to buy me some time.
Stuff that's on my mind. Honestly, it's just been this film and wrapping it out. Legal stuff, I guess.
And then remind me, this is not really a conversation piece, but how long have you been in Los Angeles?
I moved officially December 2019. So 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, but like I would say like a 1.5 to be honest, because
COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, because you went back.
I was
I
got stuck in Canada, visiting. So, yeah.
You went to visit and you got.
Well, I was in New York for a shoot, I saw the last Broadway show, and I was there for like this, like, I don't know, hosting this MTV thing, and then they're like the production shut down, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I was like, New York's an hour away from my hometown in Canada, and so I just went back, and then
you got stuck.
and it shut down, and then I was like, I didn't know how to get back. I was like, am I allowed back? And then I found out like a few months in, I was like, okay, with my visa, I could get back into the U.S.
I mean, it's probably for the best anyway. There's nothing to do.
Yeah. It was really nice, honestly, to spend that much time with my mom.
Yeah.
So, good
So it
times.
worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out. I guess I did want to ask, because you mentioned, I'm a little bit curious as far as getting like this back to the YouTube roots a little bit on what maybe not that you had an end goal anyway. Maybe you did.
With YouTube?
I'm trying to gauge on how important it is for you to be the personality in front of the camera versus the creative behind the camera. Like moving forward almost as well. Like
I mean, I feel like it was interesting because I feel like when I first started, my first actual like first 10,000 subscribers was I used to make genre swap trailers. And I wasn't in front of the camera. And I remember being like, I want to be in front of the camera. And so I switched over and did comedy videos. And so I did do that kind of pivot. And because I do enjoy, like, I guess, I don't know what the word is. I do enjoy the attention. Like, I don't know. I do enjoy, like, I guess being in front of the camera, like, I do like to see like talking and podcasts and like and all of that. I do enjoy, but I think I enjoy it more less being like a personality and more so being like just someone that creates things and like people know me for that. I guess it would be the preference and
because I can see the benefit of the combo of this is by me because I'm in front of the camera too, and it's a little bit hammering home what this thing is. It helps when they see a face to the tone, to the vibe.
Yeah.
So now I guess I don't know if you answered the question.
I mean, well, like,
I guess how important?
How important?
Moving. Do you?
I feel like so basically, I guess moving forward,
In terms of being an actor and stuff, like I'm curious on that too. Like, do you want to be brought in just for who you are?
Yeah, I see. Oh yeah, I enjoy like I've like just finished off doing a host. I enjoy hosting. Like I do like unscripted series in terms of being in front of the camera. I can be myself in front of the camera. I've tried to do self tapes and acting and just not it. I just like I think too much.
Yeah.
So I think I do enjoy hosting in other mediums like podcasting or whatever. And I do want to do that moving forward. And I think I'll always enjoy kind of I guess being a personality in some way, but the main focus would always be just like creating.
Yeah. Cool. Love it. I think we're good.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Last, I guess, very super last question that I always ask, just because I like to ask it. It's very basic. Where can people follow you on socials?
Yes.
Where you mentioned Twitter and whatever.
Yeah, Instagram. I'd say probably I post more often on is at Elle.Mills, ELLE.MILLS. On Twitter, it's MillsL. And then YouTube is youtube.com/Elle of the Mills. It's probably where, I don't know.
Why did you cringe on that?
Because I'm like, I don't post on there, so I don't know why I'm promoting it. But, I mean, if you want to check out some of the stuff I've done, youtube.com/Elle of the Mills. And then I have a podcast called Crazy Stupid Fangirls. You can just look it up. And then Twitch.
Just look it up.
Just look it up. Crazy Stupid Fangirls and Twitch. Twitch.tv/Elle Mills.
And Twitch, I just want to clarify the Twitch. Is that, when I think of streaming, I'm assuming it's video gaming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't video game though. I do just chat. I'm still figuring it out. So like I've only been doing it for a month now.
And you've been busy this month.
So I mean I do every Monday. I do it by myself or just chatting with friends. And then on Wednesdays I do with my brother. because my YouTube videos, my brother was kind of a big character, I guess.
Quite the character.
Yeah, and so our dynamic has always been like people enjoy. So I kind of brought that over to Twitch.
Yeah, I remember your brother called at one point on set.
Yes.
And it was like a FaceTime you were doing, and I was
Yes.
really confused as to what was going on.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
is this real? Is this a fan calling? Like, I was super
He
confused.
was so drunk, and I was like, "Wait, isn't it 7 p.m. there?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." I guess he was with some people who
wanted proof that
wanted to talk to me. I guess I don't know.
there was no conversation there, really.
No, very odd.
Okay, so great. Well, thanks for joining and being on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Boom, 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 boom.